Yeah.
that we are all very easily prone to saying you don't have this,
Yeah, that is true.
and we forget to see what we have.
Yeah.
So that's the spirit we work with, and that's the whole idea of being here so often to work with teachers.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope to make this evening as memorable as possible with our little chapters we read every week. Today we will read another chapter from the book. And I also wish to announce the next book. Our next book is going to be Productive Failure. Productive Failure is by Manu Kapoor. This book is not available in India. That's the challenge. Only thing you can get is a Kindle edition. But we promise you we will continue screen sharing. If you can get a copy of the book, great. Otherwise, we will always help you. So here we are. This is the masterclass of Saturday, a day after Holi, the 15th of March. We welcome you and hope to live up to your expectations. Our goal at the Learning Forward Foundation is purely to support the personal and social development of teachers. Yes, we are sustainable. Yes, we will stand by you always. However, I repeat, in case you wish to go for a certified program, please do. That's for your goodwill. But that does not stop you from joining us for the 51 webinars which we have promised. For details, please visit diljito.com. I have with me on my panel today Manisha Khanna. Manisha takes care of the Good Schools Alliance operations. She supports us as a volunteer. We have Minakshi again, pro bono, and that's how we go. It's these pro bono people who keep us going. We have with us Kunal, who is our fellow also, in addition to that. Today we will miss Gurdeep. Thank you, Isha Kashyap, for the good evening. God bless you. Lovely to have you with us. So as to everyone. So without much ado, let's go back and reflect to last week. So here we are. We will try and make it as comfortable for you to view. I'm quite sure the screen's well and visible, Manisha ma'am.
Yes, it's visible.
Lovely. So you managed to storm in. Thank you for that. We met last on the 8th of March and we shared the experience of Shomi Das in Scotland. Now, why the name Scottish Incubator? Well, that's where he got all his ideas from on teaching and learning. So when you incubate means, when a child is born, many of us have been so lucky to bear children. I wish I could. I think is the biggest gift God gives you. So often you put the child in an incubator. I'm sure you all know the word incubator from there. So incubator, why? Why is it the Scottish incubator? Because this is where Shomi was exposed to ideas that would change his life. Not only his life, but change the future course of education and learning in India. So in the Scottish incubator, towards the end, he came to India and he started as principal of Mayo College. Much against his wife and family's wishes, he left England and came here. So our thought here was how Shomi learned and developed his passion for teaching and learning in Scotland at Gordonston and was inspired by Kurt Hahn. There is more in us than we know if we can be made to see it. Perhaps for the rest of our lives, we will be unwilling to settle for less. Now, this is a beautiful message for all of you. Every one of you is special, remember that. Every one of you is here to teach. And that's your gift. Appreciate it. Actual growth often comes from overcoming one's own doubts, fears, and limitations rather than external challenges. As educators, how can we create environments that empower students to push past self imposed barriers and reach their full potential? A simple self imposed barrier: holidays week. Well, it doesn't matter. You eat, don't you? You sleep every day. So why not learn every day? And I lately have been started calling learning forward as a learning langar. And I hope you'll understand the meaning of langar. So we really worship your being here. Thank you for that. So if you would like to reach your fuller potential, don't excuse yourself. It's up to you. We will keep going even for the one teacher who comes. On our Friday session, we had 12, but we were very happy because those 12 did a great job. We read on Fridays also, by the way. So in case someone's interested, you can join us. Currently, we are reading on Friday the book, My Good School. And as I mentioned earlier, our next book is going to be Productive Failure. This will be on Saturday. This book is currently on Friday only. And from 3rd or 4th of April, whatever the Friday is, with this book, we'll have an artist. So it'll become a session of reading and art. And I think that'd be very interesting. How do you illustrate your thoughts? How do you make your thoughts interacted virtually? That is the whole idea. So what ideas we've been discussing in the book, we'll have an artist share them with you. So that's the whole idea. We'll combine art and reading on Friday. And yes, there is something on Thursday also. On Thursday, we combine poetry and music. So Thursday sessions are Thoughtful Thursdays. The anchor is Brinda Ghosh. I support her in whichever way I can. I'm sure I'm not really the best of poets, but I'm learning from her and I wish to write poetry. You will enjoy it because poetry forms music. Every song was a poem someday. On that note, this week, let me mention yesterday, I was fascinated to see one poem brought to life. Two young people in Dehradun have a YouTube channel. I will share the link in the notes today. They created a song, Kahan Dhundu. So they are looking for themselves, finding yourselves. And they spent hours in our bookstore and shot the film here. So Kitabon mein, Khawabon mein, Kahan Dhundu. So I will share that in the show notes. You'll enjoy it. It's a beautiful song. It's about life, reading, and finding yourself. So here we are. Imagine you are designing a school curriculum where students learn as much outside the classroom as inside. What real world experiences would you incorporate to develop resilience and leadership skills in students? Question to you. Think. A student in a class consistently misses deadlines and avoid responsibilities. At Gordonston, students are expected to self-report mistakes and take corrective actions. We see this even in large number of the legacy boarding schools. They try and do this even today. Instead of punishment, how would you create a system that encourages students to take accountability of their actions? That's the question. Hahn advocated for placing students in controlled and challenging situations to build resilience. Now, this exactly is what productive failure is. This entire book is about this, putting children in controlled, challenging situation and offer them safe yet challenging experiences. This is productive failure. So I'm going to lift this and I'm going to send this to the author of Productive Failure. So this message I've copied, I will send to the author of Productive Failure. And I'm sure he'll feel happy. We'll try and get him here when we meet next. We'll do it right away. That's how we work. So this gives you ideas also how you can become more interactive. Cool, huh? So this message has gone to the author. Hopefully he will come and share some interesting anecdotes with us. So below this, we put the video recording of the last session, the chapter. So we have renamed the video recordings by the name of the chapter, because earlier on we were just writing masterclass and date, which I thought was not the best way of helping you access. So the videos play on YouTube, they'll play here also. So what we expect from you is from last week, look at these questions, and some answers have come in. Thank you for the answers. So try and answer here itself, try and reflect, try and think. Whole idea for you is to pause at those questions and think. So that's from last week. Today, we are with you and we are talking of turmoil and triumph. Let me just put this higher. Shomi's journey has largely been an exploration and a widening of horizons, which is what a teacher's journey always should be. He is a thinker whose mind has been like a laboratory, churning up ideas on how to make learning interesting. Ideas would also drive Raj and me, but in a manner that was often reckless. For us, the journey has been one of struggle, of short-lived ups and long periods of down, but always propelled by the desire to do something different. Looking back, it's a miracle we succeeded. How do we succeed? If you ask me, it's primarily because of 2 or 3 reasons. One is we were at the right time, at the right place, and in the right field. While there was a lot of hard work, the element of luck also worked for us. That we had the right mentors was invaluable to our journey. I see this aspect also as a miracle. The third aspect is that although we were always short of money, we had enough people and institutions to support us. They genuinely believed in our commitment. We at the Learning Forward India Foundation were created to provide you good mentorship. And that was the whole idea of bringing together this remarkable coalition of schools to help teachers and ensure they help themselves. So all my panelists today are teachers like you. If you'd like to join us as a panelist anytime, please feel free. All you have to do is Manisha will put the email in the chat. Just email lf@ebd.in. We'd be happy to have you as a panelist volunteer in sessions to come as we go along. But belief is our commitment alone not have sufficed had people also not had faith in our sense of integrity. Integrity has come before also in about trust in the book. So a lot of times it's about trust and relationship, and that is the core of anything meaningful in life. Part of the reason was that even as we borrowed money from friends and family, we would repay whenever possible. We would also return the money immediately if someone we had borrowed from needed it urgently. But there were also people who kept their money with us for almost 15 years. Not that it was always so positive. Just when we would be in the middle of a crisis, some of our lenders would start getting worried. That was the time when some people would begin asking for the money to be returned. But we kept going, pushing our luck and pressing forward. So while such things were happening, we built Oakridge campus in Visakhapatnam. This was 2008. Mind you, this was a time banks were reluctant to lend to us. But as I said earlier, there were people who believed in us. Our builder not only constructed the structure, he also completed the entire campus without us actually paying a penny to him. It was only after we got the bank loan that we would reimburse him. We faced other crises while building the Oakridge Gachibowli campus in 2001. That was also a nightmarish time. Banks were not willing to lend, whereas we had committed to pay rents while we were building our campus. It was a financial mess, but many vendors and agencies actually waited for almost a year to get their money back from us. In the meantime, we continued to borrow at a high interest rate, which was a huge risk. We could have gone bankrupt around this time in 2004 when we approached the executive director of Andhra Bank for a loan to repay our outstanding unsecured loans. While visiting Visakhapatnam, the executive director had a talk with M. Venkata Rao, a shareholder, who told me, if you are to lend money to them, it is as safe as keeping it in the bank itself. It was then that Andhra Bank gave us rupees 6.5 crore just to repay our unsecured loans. That would be a huge turn in our entrepreneurial life. That gentleman may or may not remember that he told us such a thing to the executive director, but for banks, even a small whiff of our struggles could have wiped us out. Around this time, one of our partners decided to leave. He wanted our assets to be valued and his share paid off to him. That put us under even more pressure and we had a traumatic time, but we crossed that bridge too. So every bridge can be crossed. It's your commitment, it's your integrity, and it's your clear-sighted vision which you must follow. Today, when I am in the sunset years of my life, let me assure you, when I sit here and talk to you, there are almost 40 or 50 years work behind me. And every time when I turned around the corner to do something new, the bridge behind me would fall. But every bridge ensured I crossed. So you have to make your bridge, cross it with confidence, and not look back. That's an important part. Like a story, when we were planning to build the Bachubali campus in 2009, we did not have money even to buy the land. Forget about constructing the building. So we met the landlord, told him we had no money to buy the land, and asked if he could still register the plot in our name, and that we would pay him whenever we had money. It reads like a story. The landlord accepted our proposal after we paid a token amount, but a lot of it was overdue. We had learned, sorry, I need to just get this view corrected so that you can read it. Yeah. The landlord accepted our proposal after we paid a token amount, but a lot of it was overdue. We had learned anything from the past. We had not learned anything from the past and were given to taking loans. Yeah, this should read better. Yeah. Sorry about this. The landlord accepted our proposal after we paid a token amount, but a lot of it was overdue. We had not learned anything from our past experiences and were again into loans. What happened was the unsecured loans kept increasing year after year. So that's the challenge. Now, when you're doing business, this is the biggest challenge we face. And you never know when you can repay back the last loan. It happens to us a lot in the credit card bills, if you realize, where you start paying the amount which is minimum. But do understand, there is a huge interest which piles up onto you. So if you go back historically in 2008, there was a subprime crisis. And that's precisely when you can't repay back your loans. What happened was that unsecured loans kept increasing year after year. The previous year's unsecured loans were rupees 10 crore. The following year, the amount had risen to 15 crore. The result was we again became financially weak in the process of building the two campuses at Visakhapatnam and Bachupalli. But every experience brings with it new learnings. So this is what experiential learning is. In this case, it was the realization that borrowing from individuals had its limitations and that along with institutional funding, we needed to go for equity. We would do that when we started the project for Oakridge, Bangalore campus in 2012, when we took private equity with a proper financial fund. So how does equity work? Equity works very simply. What equity does is that you give a share of your business. You promise that part of the business will become the investors. So if you were to sell your business at a later stage, the amount due for that part will go to the investor. Actually, we were learning throughout our journey. Both of us were first-time entrepreneurs, doing business intuitively. Had there been formal structures in place, we would not have probably been able to do some of the things we intuitively did. In our case, growth happened by learning as well as through intuition. Intuition. Now, if you see how the markets work, the works more on intuition. Our ISB stint worked too, as we learnt the business jargon and language. Raj and Naga both went on an ISB course. We've read about that earlier in the book. ISB is at Hyderabad School of Business, International School of Business. In the process, we also started going to a new set of consultants and advisors. So in between Vikas and Oakridge, we had transformed ourselves into professionals. By then, we were conforming to legal compliances and other governance standards. We had matured quite a lot. So when we work with schools and institutions at the Learning Forward Foundations, we have three things we work with. First, governance. Second, training. And third, learning. Governance is for managements and stakeholders. Training focuses on teachers. Training focuses on passionate educators. Training focuses on building an environment of trust and learning. And learning is what outcome of the process is. So how students learn, how the joy of learning pervades. We address a lot of the challenges you face when you want to spread the joy of learning in your school. But progress or expansion, struggle and borrowings were our constant companions. Till 2004 and 2005, Raj and I hardly drew any salary. This was because as we grew, our unsecured loans grew too. While we were getting funded, on the other hand, we were still borrowing to service the loans when our internal cash flows were not sufficient. That ensured there was nothing for us to take home, as we were always reinvested every rupee that we would earn. Now look at the neighborhood shopkeeper, or look at a small business which you will find just outside your home. You ask the gentleman, the entrepreneur, he's never taken a salary, but he works 7 days a week. And if there is some surplus left after slogging, that is his. But from that surplus, the person has to even invest more to grow the business. So it's very hard for an entrepreneur to survive and keep growing. We often think that entrepreneur is a better business or earns much more than a salaried person is. But yes, it's a balance between risk-taking and it's a balance between ability to have sleepless nights with challenges like they faced. We started drawing salaries around 2005, but till 2011 or 12, our salaries were hardly 3 to 4 lakh a year. Check the amount out. It was only after 2011 and 12 that Raj and I started drawing salaries that were commensurate with our effort. Till then, many of our employees drew much higher salaries than we did. After all, they were being paid the market rate. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to hire them. In 2019, when the Oakridge transaction happened, people saw us and were wowed. But this is not something of a miracle. It was 27 years of continuous hard work. During this journey, anything could have gone wrong anytime. While we were expanding, we were also internally doing our mental maths. We had an idea of the possible value of our physical assets as well as our outstanding loans. In the worst case, we would have been left with little money or even nothing. Had everything gone wrong, we would have paid off everyone, closed shop, and restarted our life. But throughout this touch and go journey, we always made it a point to pay our employees on the designated salary day which was the 5th of every month. It was something that we scrupulously maintained. Sharing a personal nugget with you, in the year 2002, we opened our first book cafe in Dehradun, which was essentially working on the structure of the English book depot. We converted the bookshop into a book cafe by adding a coffee bar in the business. In 2002 and 2003, business boomed absolutely. It was one of the first book cafes in the country. And I personally thought it was a good idea if we could do this all over the country. So 2002, I saw opportunity in working with cafes because cafes and coffee shops had just started. We got an association with Barista, which still exists today, 23 years down the line. We celebrated 25 years of Barista last week with them. Then in 2003, when I said, okay, let's open a book cafe, and we tied up with Cafe Coffee Day, we opened 14 stores with them. Now, the interesting thing about this whole model, why I'm sharing it with you, is that it was a business built on borrowing. And the interesting bit of this business, which was built on borrowing, it did have goodwill, it did have trust of people because we were in business for 75 years. So people were sure that money would not sink. But then as far as the family is concerned, it put its own hard-earned money. And most of the money went towards paying rent at properties. And sales did not match. So in 10 years' time, we reached 69 stores. Now, after 10 years, 6.5 crores sunk. We said, perhaps this business is not sustainable. Because in 2009, with Amazon coming and with every brand trying the bookstore, book chain business, from Depot to Reliance to everyone, they realized that book selling is tough business and it can't run from rented stores. So finally, in 2012, the story matches here. We had 220 people and we said, we have to shut shop. So it was so beautifully done that everyone got what they want. Until today, when I meet all those people who have gone into the industry, remember those wonderful days of 10 years at Book Cafe. So we all learned a lot. Yes, we also learned a lot and we contracted and came back to the original store of Dehradun. So since 2013, we have only one book cafe in India, that's in Dehradun. Then I went on to work on schools and here I am with you. So next 10 years, we work with one school. And after that one school, now next 10 years, hopefully serving you all. All this happened because of element of trust. And that is the key. Trust is the only anchor for stability in life. Trust is the only reason why a teacher and student have a relationship. Trust is the only reason why you are a teacher. A teacher and trust are synonymous. It's the trust in the teacher where a student follows blindfold. It's the trust in the teacher where we accept whatever the teacher says. That brings us again to the third factor in our eventual success, trust. Not defaulting on salaries and repaying individuals whenever we could were a part of the mutual trust that people had in us, and which in turn would prompt them to lend a helping hand without slightest hesitation. So this is about building goodwill. There were times when vendors of our hostel mess would continue their supplies for 6 to 7 months without us paying a penny. If I have to make a list, there are hundreds of people who have helped us because they believed in us. I think that so many people believing in us is a miracle. I also see it as a measure of our sincerity, which people understood. They had trust in us and we conducted ourselves as trustworthy people. Let me give an example of how our stakeholders trusted us. There was a time when we had to ask many senior teachers of Vikas to leave because of a financial crisis. They joined other organizations but continued to be shareholders in Oakridge. This is a very interesting one. It was only after Oakridge changed hands and the transaction took place that they got the value of their shares. So as they couldn't pay the teachers the amount due, they give them shares of the company. And when the company ultimately sells, you get the value of your shares. In some cases, more than 15 years after they were asked to leave. Letting the senior teachers go was difficult, but we really had no option. There was such a bloodbath with big players paid huge amounts to students who had done well in class 10 board exams. The system was to recruit those students. That's how coaching centers produce rank holders year on year. The year had been practically memorable. Anyways, in such a market, we really could not afford the senior teachers. It was a calculated decision that required courage because word goes out and next year's admissions could become difficult. But then that could happen only if we survived the current year. We were also watching and learning and did not want to commit mistakes. We had let go many teachers in Vikas in 2002, the year the bloodbath happened. It's true, we were growing at a fast pace, but realized that our competitors were financially strong and had huge businesses. So we consciously decided to slow down on that front. So I will narrate my life story to this. This is what I did in my life. We slowed down, we contracted, and we consolidated the position. We wanted to remain sustainable and profitable, then get into the kind of competition. Now, this is the key. As a householder, you have to balance your budget and not go in debt. It's good to do that because, and I think financial prudence must be taught to students. We don't have much of financial prudence and financial management in our existing curriculum. I'm sure as the NEP goes, this is one of the priorities, and you will see the next generation smarter and even leaner in the way they work. Another decision we took was to change from the state board to the CBSE board as we were looking to capture the niche market from Eastern India. This lot many schools do today also. The bloodbath was happening only in the Andhra market, not elsewhere, and we were still getting students from outside. As a result, we did not go down in terms of finance. We went down only in volume and market visibility. In the meantime, two things happened with us. One, we started Oakridge. Although no one had any clue as to what Oakridge was, we were building its foundation and fundamentals and growing onto the Oakridge front, albeit slowly. On the Vikas front, Vikas is the junior college which they had opened before they got into the business of Oakridge with Shomidas. On the Vikas front, we had already shifted to the CBSE board. This was a different market altogether. That way, people simply forgot us. It was only after Oakridge started making news that people noticed and thought that we had done a smart job. People thought we were like the bear, hibernating for some time and then making a reappearance. Very interesting. What a lovely simile in business to a hibernating bear. What we were actually doing was different things on different fronts and constantly repositioning ourselves. So this is why the chapter talks about triumph. Yeah, Anita, you raised your hand. One sec. May I help you, Anita? You can write a message in the chat box. We'd be more than happy to help you. Anita Dhar, would you like to talk? You can talk if you want. You are permitted to talk now.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, I was hearing about this story. It was not that I really want to talk about. I was thinking that the zigzags, which has been, it tried a lot many things and it was gaining of the experiences itself. And I think, the story is inspiring and it is also confusing me that. What actually a person should be well prepared financially and then only should think about, or it is the matter of the chance one can success, because entrepreneurship is something risk bearing factor.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. I think this is a lovely summary of the chapter. So it's a chicken and egg syndrome. That's the way I always call it. But remember, entrepreneurial is not everyone's business. And I don't discourage anyone, but let me tell you, having been in it from 1983, it only works on goodwill. And if you've seen this chapter, they only created goodwill by being honest. If they didn't have the money, they were very clear about it. So then the people who backed them trusted them and did it for the risk of earning higher over a period of time. That's how the whole cycle works. You work into the future And that's why you look at the stock market. There's a loss-making company, but it's valued hugely on the stock market. So business is always optimistic for the future. And that's exactly what life is all about. Tomorrow is always for optimists. Yesterday is only for review, but there is no space for pessimists. That's my little message to you. Thank you, Anita, for highlighting that. So, Manisha, please put a bookmark here on the Education Lab, chapter 19. We will read chapter 19 next time, and Education Lab will be Show Me Story. So this book is alternating between the entrepreneurs who work with Show Me, who partnered in. So they are giving two tracks. On one track, their story is moving, and the other track, Show Me, is moving. I think this is absolutely brilliant. So last chapter was the entrepreneurial story, and the next chapter is the educational story. So this is a wonderful book on edupreneurship. That's the word we talk of today. So let's go back to our Teachers Academy blog. If you have any thoughts from last week on the Scottish Incubator, please write your comments there. You know, the comments you write, they are our currency for encouragement. Look at the word I use, currency for encouragement. Like cheerleaders. You watch an IPL match, what do the cheerleaders do? They encourage the team to bat. So if you want us to deliver better, please write your comments here, because your comments for us work like cheerleaders. So Anita, I expect you to write your question here or your thoughts here. Please write it here. But you write it not here, you will write it. I'll tell you where you'll write it. So today's chapter is Turmoil to Triumph. Now we'll try and summarize today's chapter. It's 15th of March, and the chapter we did. Yeah, before I go back, I'm going to the chat box. So Ela says today education has turned to be a business, leaving true educationists with struggles. Yeah, I'll say something, Ela. It's always been like that. You look at 200 years of Tata's history, it's nothing new. You are feeling it that way, but every generation feels like that everything in life is becoming transactional. But remember one thing, that these transactions actually create good. They create wealth, they create employment, they create sustainability. So we have been brought up in an environment where we say education should be for not profit, but why? I think the biggest thing education does is creates wealth. And only when it creates wealth are we going to have a way forward for the nation. Just keep that in mind. You have put a beautiful thought today that education has become a business. It always was a business. Everything is a business. You are born, that's the biggest business. The day you take birth, that's a doctor's business. That's the nurse's business. So life is a business. That's the hard reality. You teach and you are paid. That's business. So everything in this world is a transactional. So it's not really right for us to say that education has become a business today. Life in this world is a business. So let's accept that. And I am a thorough optimist. That's why I stand here as a coach. So let's turmoil to triumph. So that's what we are all here for. Despite the fact you feel education is a business, but you haven't left it. So let's see what we take away from today's chapter. We are missing Gurdeep today. I must thank her for putting this post together. I acknowledge her deep effort as a fellow at the Learning Forward Foundation. Kunal, would you like to come in for a moment before I do the learnings of turmoil? Kunal is working with us as a fellow at the Learning Forward Foundation. I'd like him to please come in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kunal, it's important to tell them you are our youngest teacher in the world at the Learning Forward Foundation. And you are the one who will see the future. So what do you think lies ahead for you as you reflect with us as a fellow? Talk to us about your being a fellow. And I urge teachers to even sign up for the fellowship program. Believe me, it's a transformational experience. Kunal will highlight that. Over to you, Kunal.
Yeah, so I guess fellowship provides you many opportunities. First of all, it's a way to, learning not in isolation, but actually to learn with collaboration. You get to know more about how governance work, how does education work, how does you get to connect with different kinds of people, like-minded people, and you can learn more about yourself and as well as things going around in education. So I guess fellowship provides that as a benefit, and it is remotely, so it's not that much that you need somewhere a geographic thing only. So anyone can from anywhere can join us and be a fellow.
Yeah, I'll highlight that. I will tell you how to become a fellow at the Learning Forward Foundation. Anita, thank you for that comment. Business gives a lead when it has ethics or pure intentions along with profits. Yeah, thank you. That's a very wise thought. And please, we really appreciate your speaking up. That encourages us, that acts as a cheerleader for us. So Anita is my cheerleader for the day. God bless her. So when you go to what Kunal just mentioned, how does fellowship work? The essential part is that fellowship and whatever we do inside to enter the Learning Forward Foundation, we have got a simple method now. You subscribe now and join the masterclass by clicking here. You click here, you have to pay 3,000 rupees. Now, what does the 3,000 rupees gives you? 3,000 rupees will give you a certificate end of the year. 3,000 rupees will give you access to the fellowship program. The details of the fellowship program are here. What we do in the fellowship program is also mentioned here. 3,000 rupees will give you free access to newsletter in your email box. So your contribution to the Learning Forward Foundation will give you a newsletter, will give you entrepreneurial ability, and will help you become a better teacher by giving you access to all our sessions. We would love to have you as a panelist. You can use the join tab on the schooleducation.com page. Students and individuals who join us from My Good School join us at 2,500. If you join only the Teachers Academy, which is just the masterclass, is 2,500. I suggest don't go for this. Better go for the 3,001 because that will give you access to a lot more. Schools and partners who join us, for example, if a school wants all their teachers to join us, it's 25,000 for the school. All their students, all their teachers can join us, even if there are 1,000, no problem. We host a My Good School retreat, which is coming on very shortly. You can find out about it. Maybe you want to join. It's a 4-day retreat. It happened in April. It'll happen again in November. You can also send us small amounts from as little as 10 rupees to 10 million. We accept donations. Thank you so much. And this is the same form which I was mentioning. This is a new offer we've just started where you subscribe and you get all facilities of joining the Teachers Academy. So that's enough of marketing from our side. Yes, we have to become sustainable. Yes, we are a non-profit business. All the money we collect, we send it out to schools and teachers and students who need it. So we don't use a single rupee for our operation. The studio you see behind me is not paid for, by the way. It's my legacy. It's a place where I was born. This is a 100-year-old building where I sit. So definitely I can't afford to do things from here if we did not have a legacy behind us. So that is the turmoil to triumph. Education must enable young people to effect what they have recognized to be right, despite hardships, dangers, skepticism, boredom, and mockery from the world. So today's session, our discussion highlighted all this. So Kunal talking about young people recognize the right despite hardships. So Kunal sees inside us that despite all the hardships, it's 5 years now, we are celebrating. How can educators empower students to stand by their values and make the right choices, even when faced with hardship, skepticism, or societal pressure? So now you reflect back to this chapter of Naga's book. Naga Tummala is the author of this book, which we are reading. So reflect on the chapter. Where do you think, what was the resilience which came? How it came to him? Question 2. Miracles happen when people trust in their abilities. So I'm back to the element of trust. What strategies can educators use to help students develop inner confidence, trust their abilities, and embrace challenges as opportunities for growth? What a lovely question. Setbacks and struggles often pave way for growth. Think about it, and success. How can educators shift students' mindsets to view setbacks as learning opportunities rather than obstacles? Just give me a moment. So this is experiential learning. Like Kunal is also mentioning, it's experiential learning. Manisha is gaining experiential learning. I'm sure we will never be able to honestly compensate Manisha for her effort or Minakshi for her effort. And these people are the reason why we exist. because it's their love and their commitment and their passion which keeps us going. Whether it's Gurdeep, who comes so often, whether it's Brinda, Jugjeev, and all the other coaches, no one gets paid, let me assure you. They're all here because they love you. How can educators shift students' mindset to view setbacks as learning opportunities rather than obstacles? Think about it. What strategies can you reinforce the idea that resilience and perseverance? So I'm back to resilience and perseverance. We were at the right time, in the right place, and the right field. Think of this sentence. Yes, some are lucky, some are gifted, some are born with a silver spoon. How can educators help students develop the skill of noticing opportunities? So you have to help your student notice the opportunity. It's very simple. You can comment below the post. You don't have to pay. You can just comment for free. That pay is encouraging you to sign up. I wish some people do. My goal is every time we come on a day like this, we get one person to sign up. So today we have almost 100 people here. I hope one will sign up. And that's the hope. That's the optimism. So here you can write your comment. You can answer on these questions. Think over these. Think how turmoil to triumph. Your struggles as a teacher, how you struggle, we can feel that. That's your turmoil. Your triumph is the students you have seen go across the world. You can mention examples of hardships of students, how you supported them. Write a story here. Think about your own personal experience. You don't have to answer questions. This is not an assignment. It's whatever thought comes to your mind is pure reflection. So do reflect here, please. It's 15th of March today. We already have some. So you can add some more reflections. That'll be very kind of you. We would love to hear your reflections. Our blog is the Teachers Academy is happyteacher.in. It's a very well-received blog. There is a connection, numbers and emails here for your help. Then we have a World Bank recognition for our program that will give you honor and respect. We have a reasonably good following of people who read. Our whole goal is not to even ask you to buy books. There's enough reading material for you here. And above all, when you sign up, you get what we call the Good Schools of India Weekly. Now, why we call ourselves good schools? Because good schools are the one which focus on reading, reflection, and relationship. That's what I call a good school. So this is the Good Schools of India Weekly, gsi.in, very simple address. The last edition is there of last Wednesday. Wednesday 4 will be the 19th. We've already announced the forthcoming weekly. So last weekly is here. You have some stories. Weekly covers what we do on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We don't work Monday and Tuesday. Those are our weekly offs. So our week starts with the weekly coming out on Wednesday, which captures the last week's stories, the last week's happenings, what we have done the whole of last week. So even if you miss today's session, just pop by here. You will find everything. And this will come to you by email. So this will be a recording of the last week's session. Today's session recording will be available by late evening today. So you normally get it the same day. In case some of your colleagues are traveling, let them enjoy the holiday. Whenever they get time, they can join the class. That's the beauty of it all. Yeah, Neeraj. Neeraj, you want to speak? I can let you speak, or was that a hands up to show a high five? Sometimes the hands up is for high five also, which is also loved by us. Thank you so much. I have nothing more to add today. It's been a wonderful Saturday as always. And thank you for coming to the masterclass. The more the merrier. We would happily have you all with us throughout the year. This book, which we are reading, will finish soon. Our next book is going to be Productive Failure. Don't buy it. It's an expensive book. We will screen share. We will talk about it, but don't tell the author I told you don't buy it. I met the author recently, and the author understands that the way the book is priced, it can't be sold in India. And that's exactly our whole goal at the master classes, is to help teachers get access to material which is hard to find, which is hard to get. So don't think it's business for us. It's pure your love for us. And that's why our Teachers Academy website is simply diljito.com. That's our website, diljito.com. You just have to say join now, press the button. This is the program, is the Teachers Academy. What we do, yes, if you want a certificate, then obviously you pay. But otherwise, our master classes are free. They will always remain free as long as we are limiting the number to 500. After 500, we may have to charge because our economics then goes wrong. We're only at the moment designed to serve 500 teachers the way we are. So you can also send articles to us. If you have subscribed, we'll happily publish your articles. So do go to diljito.com. There's a nice article about professional learning. Read it. There is also the Teachers app, which you can get for free. Please download it. It's a good app, and we support the Teachers app. So you're most welcome to download the Teachers app. Over to you, Manisha ma'am, for doing the honors and for closing this. I will stop screen share because I don't have anything more. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful Saturday. Over to you, Manisha.
Thank you everyone for joining. The best part about the masterclass is you all can join from anywhere as this is online, and like if you're on a vacation or somewhere, you can just log in here. It's not required that you have to switch on your cameras because you are using our webinar form, and whosoever is sitting with you, they all also get a chance to listen. So please join, tell your friends, tell your colleagues and everyone to join as far as you all can. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great Sunday. Yeah, tomorrow, why not come to my good school? That's how we keep pushing people every day. Thank you, Asham Patil, for that great session, comment. It's an honor and privilege to be at the service of a teacher. I bow down to every teacher and humbly fold my hands and thank you for being with us. God bless you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Ritu. Thank you so much for your thumbs up. We love that. God bless you. May you have a golden thumb. Thank you, everyone. Before we go and say bye-bye, once again, remember, we meet every Saturday, 5:30 p.m. No Holi, no Dasera, no Christmas, nothing stops us because we love reading. And that's why we are here. So please join us and never ask us a question, will there be a session today? It's not a class. It's a place where you're going every week to experience the joy of learning. And when you understand the meaning of experience the joy of learning, you will never ask this question, is there a class today? Because this is not a class. It may be called a master class for terminology, but I think it's a question of trust and relationship. Our focus is very simple: reading, reflection, and building long relationships. Bless you. Stay with us. Thank you, Vidyotama. I'm glad you experienced this. And I'm sure as your school is a member of the Alliance, you will encourage more people to join. All the people who wrote those lovely messages, bless you. You can WhatsApp us. Don't call us, please. It's difficult for us to take phone calls. You can email us. You can WhatsApp us. We will support you even if you have not subscribed, let me tell you. You will get back a message from us always. God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.